Hello and welcome to the Radical World podcast. My name is Jose Leal, and today I'm having a conversation with Priscila Porchini, whom I've known for a few years, who's been moving around in our radical space for a while, and keeps doing amazing things, both with her um, purpose evolution but also integrating the stuff that we've together as a community been developing through Radical. So, welcome, Priscilla. Wonderful to have a conversation with you yet again.
Thank you, Jose. I'm really happy to be here with you and to go into one of many conversations that we've had over the years, and I'm sure this one will be as deep and as meaningful as all the other conversations we've had have been.
Awesome. So, I have a question for you because
Mhm.
I love your title for yourself. uh, and it really resonates for me because we've done a lot of work on radical purpose, and so I think this is the thing that glues us together in some way. But tell us a little bit about how you got to be, and then how you decided to be a purposologist.
Okay, first, I think that the search for meaning, okay, is a human basic need. Okay, so starting there, I didn't invent the search for meaning. Okay, even though I call myself a purposologist, it's a human need. Okay, and I
Can I
and I,
interrupt you there?
yes,
Yeah, because I think it's a life need.
yes.
Because I think other animals also have that need. I mean, if you look at a dog, for example, and
Mm-hmm,
it wanting to do things that have meaning to it,
mm-hmm.
it doesn't just aimlessly run around. It tries to find the one person that wants to play with it. Tries to find the one person that has food. It tries to find the one person that will comfort it. Um, and it searches. I don't have pets, but my sister has pets, and they will find the one that's going to comfort it. You know, and
Exactly.
and
Mhm.
they're seeing that
Meaning
need.
looks different for each person and for each species, um, but I didn't invent it. Okay,
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
if anyone here has ever questioned themselves, what is the meaning of your life and of this moment in your life, and why are you even questioning yourselves that? I just want you to know that it's perfectly normal. It's a sign that you're a sane person. Okay, you're not broken, you're sane. That's why you're looking for meaning in your life. Okay, so uh, putting that on the table, um, I've discovered in myself that search for meaning has been pretty active since I was like 6 or 7 years old. Okay, I used to make myself these questions, especially because of my family's background and what my childhood experiences. So I started questioning, like, what's the point in all of this? You know. Um, so uh, um, while I grew up, I searched the meaning of my life in through several pathways. And at some point, I became an agnostic because I was angry at God for not being like clear about what's the purpose of all things, you know. And then I decided I would stop believing in Him. And then some years later, I tried to find meaning in my life by um, going into a discernment to see if I should be a nun, a Catholic nun, you know, and it wasn't there. So I went back home, and then I was like, okay, so what am I gonna study? What do I want to contribute to the world? What do I want to put out there, so that when I die, I can die feeling um, feeling like complete, that I did something with my life. And I studied law, and I was a corporate lawyer for several years, and I learned a lot about the fiat system that we're going to talk about later on. And And then I experienced what depression is, and I went into burnout, and I became a leader of a team, and I realized that it's not about what I do, but what I do while I do what I do. You know, what I do, the impact that I can have in the world while I do what I do, whatever
Right.
that is. And all of that started to make sense somehow. One of my most present radical needs is meaning. So all of this, all the time, I was trying to find sense in what I was experiencing and the world that I was starting to see. So I realized that what was really important to me, because I had experienced it, was I want to help people find meaning in their lives, because I know what it feels like to don't see meaning, to feel hopeless, to feel like you're in this dark tunnel where you can see anything, and where the only answer to this meaningless life is to finish it. I've been there. So I decided that I wanted to do something to help others find meaning. And I've studied a lot. I never stopped studying. But the one thing that I study the most is purpose and meaning. How does that look like to a person? How does that manifest in different ways for different persons? Because the way I'm gonna find meaning in my life, and the way I'm gonna discover my purpose and build my purpose, it's pretty different to the way that you're gonna do that. And that's okay. There's not a magic wand. There's not like a methodology that serves everyone. It's a very personal journey. So what I do as a purposologist is to study that phenomena, you know, and to find what it helps each person, and to try to find like patterns, and to see, this way this person can be served better to find their purpose if we apply, or we help them with these tools, you know. And I've even had cases where I have to accompany the person through a on purpose process, where you're so focused on finding the purpose, like you want to grab the same analogy to happiness, right? You want to
Right.
grab it, and you want to, to grab it,
Like
and
it's a
it's
thing,
away,
like it's a thing that you can
like
have.
it's a thing, or an imperative, or you're you should have a purpose. So the person is like, um I don't know how to say that in English. Like ofuscado, like
Obfuscated.
obfuscated. Okay, thank you. And the person is obfuscated, and all they see is, I must have a purpose. No, let go of the idea of purpose and get into the journey, and start walking, and start discovering yourself, and start clarifying what values and needs are important for you, and then purpose will find you. So that's like an on purpose process.
Process.
But at the end, you'll end up sensing your purpose. But
And
it's
so
a
you
different.
just mentioned in that answer the title of today's conversation,
Yes.
which is
Purpose is the journey, not the destination.
right.
Mm.
So I'd like to take this two directions, because the personal human side of this, we both are passionate about this part, right?
Mhm.
Because in my view, which I think we share, um, purpose is who I am evolving through my journey.
Exactly.
And it isn't that I become an architect, or that I become a lawyer, or I become a thing, or it's not what work I do or what title I end up having that is my purpose in life. My
Mm.
purpose in life is who I am in relationship to the environment that I'm in. I don't know if that makes sense to you, and how I learn to understand who I am. and what needs I have that in the moment lead me in a certain direction or another down the journey of my purpose.
That's right. Yes. When I started my own journey, I told you, right, that I was questioning myself. What do I do when I do what I do? And it's on the do world, right? To
Right.
make something. But when I started going deeper and deeper and deeper into these superficial questions that we make ourselves, what do I want to do? What do I like to do? What I feel most passionate about? What can I do so I can be paid? Those are in my in my point of view. Those are like superficial questions. When you start going really deep and deeper and deeper and deeper, the answer is not what I do, is who I am. And then I had great coaches and therapists that helped me realize who I am, not who I was, who I am. As in, I am what, like I am, and I cannot be who I am, right? Ever.
Mhm.
But I can evolve, which is different. So I knew myself and I realized that, oh, now I understand why my job wasn't filling me, because
Fulfilling me. Yeah.
yeah, because I am curious and I wasn't being allowed to be curious at my job,
Right.
because I need to find meaning and I wasn't allowed to question anything, because I like nurturing and I wasn't allowed to be in meaningful working relationships even,
Right.
right?
Right.
They were
Right.
transactional relationships. So
So let me take
all
a
the
step back.
critical needs.
We're getting into good stuff here. So
So
that's that.
my radical needs were not met. So I wasn't feeling um, complete, and I wasn't enjoying my job. I didn't have this pleasant emotions. I was starting to feel the void.
And so that personal view of an environment,
Mm-hmm.
in this case, the work you were in,
Mm-hmm.
did not match. And the way that you were working, you weren't working from your purpose.
I wasn't working from my authentic self. Therefore, I wasn't working from my purpose.
Right. And why were you working? What was causing you to work?
Well, in radical terms, I was working through the fiat system. I was under this force that told me you have to be this way, and we expect you to be this way. And if you are not like this, you're not part of us. And there's another need that every human being has. Some of us have it in a higher or more present way. That is belonging, and I wanted to belong. So if they told me you have to be this way and you have to behave this way and your job has to be done this way, regardless if you're curious or nurturing or whatever, you are going to belong. And that's when I said, okay, I want to belong. But it wasn't enough. Eventually, I
Right.
forced I forced myself. There was this like force in the system,
Right.
and I later on discovered that, and I could be responsible for that. In the moment I couldn't see it, I later was able to, but in the moment I couldn't see that I was even forcing myself to try to fit in. So I lived those years like projecting, my own experience. They don't let me, like it's what I just
Right.
told you. They don't let me, but I
Right.
was letting myself either. The
Right.
moment the moment I realized that that was not gonna make me happy, and I was not being authentic, and that was the void that I was feeling, I decided to quit. And then I question myself, now what, right? But later on I discovered that there's also like a force inside of me. When I force myself to do things to fit in, when I force myself to do things because I learned as a child that I won't be loved if I don't do something, and because I learned in school that it was wrong to make questions, I have to have the right answer. So I forced myself through so many years, because that's what I learned to do.
Yeah.
And
And
the
with
moment
your
I realized that, then I could free myself from all that, and I'm still freeing myself.
we
It's an ongoing process, you know.
aren't we all? Aren't
Yeah,
we all? So I'd like to move a little bit to the organizational side, because
good.
now you're working with folks that are in organizations. Some of them you deal with them personally, right? And family and personal. But in organizations, you're working with folks who are trying to find this balance between these fiat systems of force and these human needs
Mhm.
that that are present in all of us, and as you said, in different ways. So, what do you find? Like, how is it that you're helping these folks, and what are you finding in these environments?
Okay. I start by helping them realize the force, the fear system. They need to see it. If I don't see it, and if I can't name it, I can work on it. I can change it. So we need to see the system and name it. So we start by doing this exercise where I offer the distinctions, between force and needs. So they start like identifying it, and then I make this question: what's my part of responsibility in sustaining that system that is hurting me? What's my part of responsibility? So they realize that they're not only the victims of the force that's being pushed on them, but they're also being the pushers, right? So
Onto other themselves and others.
yes, yes. So when they realize that, when we realize that, it's like, I can't, I can go on like this. This can't go on like this, you know? So what are we gonna do now? And then I introduced them to the radical needs um, principles, and they start like matching, like, oh, now I understand what I had to do, in my own journey to, oh, now I understand why this feels good, this feels wrong, why I get so angry at this, why I feel the need to defend myself, why do I enjoy this thing, and why do I want more of that. So they start realizing, oh, so in me it is important to to um to impact. And how does that look like? Like this, they start like writing down, how does it look like for them to impact? How much
Mhm.
of that are they being able to do at the current state of the way they do their work, right?
Right.
And at home and with their friends. So I would start like analyzing in every dimension of the person, so they can understand that it's not that I am in this system, but what is happening to me is in other system, and I am also part of that. So I do have the key to stop that, or start stopping that in myself, and through myself, in the collective, right? So that's what we do, and then we start talking about purpose.
And what I love that you're doing it that way, because that sounds to me like a very powerful way for people to understand themselves. And obviously it's working for you, which is awesome. How do you see that the conflict between me, the person with purpose, that I now understand the different aspects of my needs that are in conflict with whatever environment I'm in? Um, how how do they come to terms with what can I change? What can I can change about seeing myself and understanding that I have a radical purpose? How do I change my system, the systems around me?
Okay, that's why we work with leaders too, right? So through the uh, process to clarify purpose, and this type of exercises are part of that process, bigger process.
Mhm.
We work with leaders, so they are the first ones to realize this, to connect with their purpose and to know themselves. So when we work with a bottom up, we have like a group of leaders that are already in the journey, ready to support the ones that are in starting it, right? Um, because what I've realized is that most of these type of processes are done top down. So
Right.
just the ones at the top, the executive team or the leadership team is the one that goes through all this process and journey, and they work on themselves supposedly, and then they just communicate it downwards, expecting people to like say, okay, yes sir, that's my
Right.
new purpose now, and that's not the way it works. What I've realized is communication is one way right now in the organizations,
Right.
so they don't accompany people into the process of um, of digesting the information and letting them realize how much of that do I want in my life, how do I connect with that, how do I want to contribute with that, does that align with who I am or not. That other part of the process in communication is not done.
Well,
Okay,
I think
let
of
alone reverse the process, and then from bottom up, let's see what's the purpose they see from the bottom, and start giving feedback to the top. Hey, just say the company's purpose is that, but what's going on in reality down there, and what they are looking at, and what they want to see in the company, and the way they want the company to impact the world is this. So we have to integrate both perspectives, and that's what me and my team do when we work a process of purpose. We incorporate both points of view.
you said about the information, right? Communication. And I've observed, and maybe you've observed this as well, that there's two kinds of communication. There's the decisions communication, which is top down. We've made this decision. You have to do this. So this is the way it is. This is the new mission. This is the new whatever, right? And it's a one-way direction, as you described. And then we want to know the reality. So report that back up to us, right? And that again is one directional, but it's from the bottom up. Pardon me. And but we just want simple facts. We want you to report data, right?
Mhm.
We can report opinions and decisions, and we would like you to report data back up to us so we can make better opinions and decisions. And
Yeah.
that process that you've just described of paying attention to people is very contradictory to that current model of communication, because now you have to pay attention not just to data, not just to reporting, but to the people and to their needs and to their purpose themselves, the impact you want to make, as you said. And that to me is it requires that people become much more intimate with each other than we're used to, right? Because they report to me, I talk to them once a week in a one-to-one meeting or something like that. And then the rest of the time they do their thing, and all I want to see is my report. And
Mhm.
I'm hoping that they're doing okay. you know, uh,
Yes.
and now I think we need to, as I said, become more intimate with people, because understanding, I don't think understanding purpose is just my job. I think understanding my purpose is actually our job. And understanding your purpose is also our job,
Mhm.
because I need to communicate it to you, and I need you to communicate yours to me. And we need to work on this together, because if you're in a place that doesn't suit you, I need to know that too, not just you, right?
Ex-
Does
Exactly.
that, yeah,
Like imagine now having these people from all levels sitting around being intimate and the same journey. It's not like the ones at the top made a journey, then it stopped, and then we go to the next layer, and then it stopped. At some point, if it depends on the size of the company, right?
Right.
Obviously, but if it can be done, like having people from all levels in a same circle, sitting down and being intimate and sharing, and also listening and learning how to share and how to listen and how to be quiet and how to receive, but also how to give. And they're all learning about themselves in a community. Then that's how we make safe spaces so they can share their purpose. And then by listening to each other, we can realize, okay, that's your purpose, this is my purpose, that's his purpose, that's her purpose. What's our purpose? When we listen to each other, what's the purpose that's emerging here?
Right. Right. Not that we define, not that we dictate,
Exactly.
but that is emerging from us, which means we need to listen to each other, which
Mhm.
means we need to be intimate. Because the only way we can really listen to each other is we give each other real time with one another, not just show me the report,
Exactly.
not just here's what we've decided, you need to do these things next month and next year and next quarter and whatever it is. But what are we feeling
Mhm.
about this situation and the direction we're going? Because there is some level of we've got to get this stuff done. That's the work we're doing. But that work, I think, we get lost in. And then we realize, holy cow, I've spent 10 years producing a product that's harmful to society.
Or that producing that product is harming to my people.
Harming me, harming us.
Mhm.
Yeah, exactly. And we don't give that, we don't even give the space to that conversation when we're talking about we just got to get it done.
Exactly.
Right.
We just want to get it done, and we want to get straight A's by doing that. We don't. We want to get it done. So I don't want excuses for not doing that. But I don't want you to come to me and tell me we were wrong.
Right.
Right. So we're not open to learning from each other, and we're not open to realize that what I did is it's not okay. It could be better for the environment, for the people, for the consumer, for the provider. It could be better for everyone, right? But it's hard to accept that we've been doing it wrong for so many years, right?
It's hard to accept that we haven't had these conversations, that these conversations, my parents' generation, these conversations did not exist at all. Right.
My
Um,
parents' conversations either.
right. Right. And so it's not only about doing it differently, doing business differently, doing work differently, and doing us differently, because in part we have to understand ourselves before we can actually share that with each other.
Mhm.
Right. And all too often we think of ourselves from that fiat lens.
Mhm.
I'm an employee. I need a job. I will do what the boss tells me. I'll do what the teacher tells me. And I'll get the straight A's, as you pointed out. And that is the purpose that we have today that has been so well conditioned in us, is to simply be good citizens, be good students, be good employees. And
Mhm.
if we do that, we may have a little bit of a retirement at the end of our lives with a little bit of money to enjoy it, because we won't enjoy it up till then. And that's the system that we've created.
And that's if when I get some retirement time, I feel mm, happy enough to enjoy my retirement time, because I've been telling myself that I am worthy, well, I am useful, that when I get retired, I can stand myself
Right.
because I'm not being useful. I have to go back to work. So I
Yeah.
never enjoyed my job. I didn't enjoy retirement, and I didn't enjoy myself through the journey
If
because I
you're
had
healthy
to.
enough, if you're healthy enough that you
I
haven't hurt yourself sufficiently, that hurting yourself emotionally takes a toll on you physically.
Mhm.
And so very often people get to that point in their lives, they go, okay, I'm retired, and their health is not there.
Mhm.
So it's a huge conversation that we're talking about, this idea that understanding our personal radical purpose and working with it with each other is
Mhm.
really the first place for us to, and I don't like to say fight the fiat system, because I don't think it's about fighting the system. I think it's about stepping outside of it, knowing that it's there, knowing that it's using the force that it's using, doing the things that it's doing, but stepping out and saying, I'm doing my thing.
Mhm.
I'm taking my journey. And I have colleagues that are going to be able to take their journey with me, because we see the same values in the journey that we're taking.
Mhm.
And to me, that process that I think you're describing in the work you're doing with your customers, your clients, um, is is the only way we get out of this. I don't know another way to get out of this fiat world.
Yeah, me neither. Not yet. If anyone here has another idea how we can do that, you're very welcome to share. But right now, that's the way that I realized that works for now, at least. Because I feel like the fiat system is like this glass box we're in, or like the Truman Show. Like we
Mm,
are in, but we don't realize that we are in until something happens to the glass box. We bump into the glass box, or something happens, to the set of the Truman Show, and
right,
then we start questioning, like, huh, that wasn't there. I didn't realize it was there. Let me get curious to see what else is in there. And sometimes that takes time, because most of the times we've been inside the box so long that when we see a crack, we're not able to see the crack.
right.
We think that something's wrong with someone else, or something's wrong with
What's wrong with
us,
us?
not with the box,
Not with the
right?
system.
So it takes time for us to, even after so many years, realize, oh, that crack that I saw, it wasn't me. And it wasn't my colleague, or it wasn't even my boss. It was the box.
Right.
So what if we break the box? Right? What if we understand that it is a box, and we approach that crack, and we start like a mine, like filling the box, and then putting a name to the box, so we can see it and we can step out. But
Right.
first, we need to be brave enough to see those cracks and be willing to see them, and get curious and start filling the box. And that's
You know,
hard.
a couple of weeks ago, I was at the California Co-op conference.
Mhm.
We did a couple of presentations there, and I got this feeling that cooperatives, at least in the United States,
Mhm.
are actually maintaining the box, because they're trying to fight the system within the box.
Hmm. It's because they've been so long inside the box that they feel safe in the box. No, that's the only thing I know. I don't know any other way. I don't know there can be another way. So, because this is what I know, and I need to feel control over my life, even if it's like hurting me, but this is what I know. So, our mind tells us,
Yeah.
stay there, because that's the only thing you know. So it takes a lot of courage to say, I know this is the only thing I know. I know that it is uncertain out there. I don't know what's out there, but I have to be courageous enough to say, this is not what I want. And most people know what they don't want. Most people know what they don't want. It's what I do want that they don't have clear enough. They don't have clarity on what
It's
they want.
easier to see it's easier to see what makes you feel bad. It's not so easy to see what you can experience because you haven't experienced it yet.
Because you haven't experienced it yet. And because you don't know how that looks like, if you're going to like it better than here, right? But
Right.
at some point, you have to question yourself, what's the price that I'm paying for staying here in the known? What could I gain if I step out into the unknown?
And that price, and we're going to have to wrap it up because
I know.
I'm enjoying the conversation, so we can go for another hour. But I think that price is manyfold. There's the price on me.
Mhm.
There's the price on my family. There's the price on us and our families, right? All
And
of
the next
us
generations.
in the next generation. But there's also the price on our society and our ecology, because the very thing that we as organisms are here to do is to make a positive impact. And when we're distracted by the fiat system, we're actually not making the positive impact, we're making the negative impact.
Mhm.
So you said at the beginning of this conversation that you want a life that has an impact. At the end of your life, you say, I want to be able to say, I made a positive impact in the world. Well, most of us are not only not making a positive impact, we're making a negative impact, not because we've tried, but because we've been forced by the system to do a job. It's not a good job. That's okay. It's paying me. I'm giving people bad food. That's okay. I'm employed. I'm making chemicals that hurt people, but that's all right because it's making lots of money. And at the end of the day, that means billions of us are involved in actually creating harm rather than in fixing the things that society and our ecology. There's lots of real natural problems. Disease is a
Exactly.
real natural problem, right? Energy is a real natural problem. We should solve energy in a better way, but we're not solving energy in a better way because that isn't what the system tells us we need to do. And so those of us who have jobs in energy are torn,
Yes. And
right?
that's why process is the journey. Process is not to purpose is not the goal. You know, I'm wanna get my purpose. I'm gonna hire someone to help me put on a beautiful statement, and I'm gonna publish that statement. And there, I have a purpose now. Everyone aligned to the purpose. No, the purpose. The purpose is the journey, and imagine like you're inside the box, and peeking outside the box is where you can see purpose. When you peek outside and you say like, oh, there's a whole world out there, there's impact, I want to be there. That's the purpose. But then you have to get out of the box, and that's the process of the purpose. You have to walk the purpose, and the purpose is gonna confront you to the status quo, and you have to decide if you want to keep it, or you want to get freed from it or free others from it. But that's what the purpose, a real good purpose, is going to confront you, and it's going to tell you, why are you still sitting here when you are responsible of this, when you are able to make an impact in here? So what are you still saying where
What are you
you've been
still
the last
doing the other
couple of
things?
years, right? What are you going to do? That's a good purpose, is the one that slaps you in the face and makes you wake up. So
And
that's the journey.
and I would frame it a little differently because it's not the purpose itself that's good or bad. It's the recognition of that purpose. Because
Mhm.
I am who I am. I'm not going to change the fundamental needs that I have.
Mm-hmm.
But once I recognize that, and that I'm wasting my time, I'm wasting this precious time to actually contribute to nature in a way that's why I'm here. I'm here to advance the things that need to be advanced. And I have the purpose built into me to be able to do that. And when I have that recognition of who I am, and that purpose is something that I can see the value of it as it manifests, that's the journey.
Yes. But in order for that to happen, you have to get to know yourself.
Yes,
You have
absolutely.
to get into the being journey, not do journey,
Right.
right? But so many,
Awesome. Thank you.
I've seen so many people, teams, and companies that work on their purpose from a marketing point of view, to put it
Right.
some way. So that's why I say that purpose is more like a slogan or a dream, but not a purpose. The purpose comes from going into this journey of discovering yourself and discovering yourself with others, and then getting into these conversations and let the common purpose emerge.
Right.
And that's when you know that you have picked over the box, right?
Yeah.
And then that's the other thing that we have to do with the purpose, that we in order for the purpose to really free us and let us live more meaningful and authentic lives. We need coherence with that purpose. We need to bring that purpose into action every day. And
Right.
that's where we realize, okay, so I'm responsible with others for this world that we're in. So how are we going to do that? And maybe your purpose is taking you to make alliances with your competitors. Imagine that. So you're moving outside the box, like making alliances with your competence, with your
Competitors.
competitors. Thank you. I was like, really?
Because
But
they're not really competitors, right?
because they're
We're
not really
all
competitors.
here to do something. We're not
Exactly.
here to serve an economic system. We're here to improve life on Earth. And to improve life on Earth for us, for the next generation, for others, has little to do with the economic system we've created that was intended to motivate us to work.
Exactly. Like, remember that Marcel Quintanillas put it in one of our meetings, and he said, it's about serving life. And you said it too, serving life, honoring life. That's the point. It's not, the tools and the systems are here to serve life, not the other way around. And we've been programmed and we've been too long in the box that serves the system, that serves the tools.
Right.
And it's the other way around.
And we need organizations, new ways of organizing that are about serving life.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I think we need to do that from the beginning,
Mm-hmm.
not just to work with transforming existing organizations to do that, but to actually create organizations from that very point. Because I think that young folks would be attracted to those types of organizations in ways that they wouldn't even look at the fiat box if they could see that as a potential. And
Exactly.
to me, that is, I think, where we go next.
Yes.
I could keep talking to you forever.
I know. We need another round of conversation. I know. But just uh, to I don't know the
Wrap
expression.
it up.
Thank you. To wrap it up, we talked in the beginning that search for meaning is a fundamental, radical human need. So what a company's purpose does is that it inspires and invites people, come join us because there's a bigger thing here for you and for me that is meaningful in itself. And you can, if you relate to this, you can come and we'll do something bigger for the world. So a purpose is inspiring. It's really inspiring and inviting. And because we all have this need to find meaning in our lives, we have meaningful relationships and we want to have a family or not. We want to work in this company or not because we're searching. So so that's also one of the main traits of a purpose, that it inspires and it invites people.
And you said something before we started recording that that purpose today is being used in some nefarious ways.
Yes.
Why don't you give us a little bit of that before we wrap it up? Because I really think I'm seeing so much more of that than I am of a real radical sense of what purpose is, and having it be an emergent property and not a imposed property.
Yeah, I told you that I've seen purpose shaming and purpose washing. Purpose shaming within the fiat system, I think it is uh, like shaming someone for not having their purpose. Like, what? You don't have your purpose? Like, what are you doing here? How can you exist because you don't have a purpose? And it's easy to fall in that, in that, in that box, in that other box, you know. And I've seen so many people feel broken because they don't have a purpose. I have to have my purpose. You do
Right.
have a purpose. It's different to put it down in words, but it do have a purpose. Just go inside yourself and find yourself, and you find the purpose. But you have to find yourself. It's not something that you do, it's something that you
You don't
are.
go look for it outside.
Exactly. And I used to question one of my coaches that I felt she was getting really close to realizing that, oh, this is a purpose. But she wasn't quite happy with the words that were coming out to define her purpose. So I asked her, what do you expect from your purpose? What do you expect it to sound like? What do you expect it to be like? And then she realized that, right, I'm putting my own expectations, my perfectionist expectations, my communication skills expectations into how I think the purpose should look like or sound like. And that's not purpose.
Right.
No.
And that's
So,
the washing part, right?
and that's the purpose shaming. The purpose washing is saying, you know, we are a purpose driven company and we support these causes. Well, to support a cause is to support a cause. You may support a cause without having a purpose.
Right.
I support it with what I have left. So I volunteer in my free time. I had this money. I paid the shareholders and I paid everyone, and I had this money, which I can live by if I don't reinvest it in the company. So I will donate it. That's supporting a cause. But being a purpose driven company means that you look into how you care for your people. You incorporate the purpose into your DNA as a company. So you invest in processes, in policies, in people, in ESG strategies, because you're really conscious of your impact in the world. But you're also conscious that you have to stand by what you preach, so you are coherent from the inside out, you know. So purpose washing would be, I say I do, I say I am, but there's no the bridge between what I say I am and do and the reality. It's not there. There's no bridge.
And the purpose isn't an emergent purpose. It's a marketing.
It's a marketing
It's a
purpose.
marketing ploy.
Mhm.
We could keep talking, but we really, really do need to close up. So I really want to thank you for this, because I, as always, loved it. And I really love and miss our conversations. So I hope we get to do some more soon. I'm going to let our audience know that we've got next week Radical Pioneers, which is a podcast series that Matt Perez and I do every couple of weeks. And so we're going to be doing that for next week. So stay tuned for that. And again, Priscila, thank you so much for this long conversation, but I think it had to be long because I think there's so much for us to say. So really enjoyed you being here today, and thank you for spending the time.
Thank you, Jose, for having me. I really missed our conversations. I'm glad to be back. And let's have some more because this conversation can take hours.
Yes, absolutely. Goodbye, everybody.